Hey, Dallas Wayne here. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about true versus false authority. And this is actually a talk that I heard a long time ago from a preacher at a Pentecostal church, which I thought was kind of funny to get a talk like this from a preacher. It was actually completely unexpected, because basically what he was saying is true authority is given by God. False authority is stuff like earthly titles and implied authority, like, oh, I've been here longer, or I'm older, so I'm in charge, this type of thing. When realistically, true authority is given by God. Or if you're not a religious believer, like this, in a more pragmatic sense, it's dictated by truth. That's why it's called true authority. Like, if the authority is based on merit, then it's legitimate at the end of the day. Like, what is God given? Well, God given, in a more pragmatic sense, is like, you've earned it. You told the truth. You do the right things. And you're an authority that actually looks out for the best for the people beneath you. And why this was like such a funny conversation or topic to hear from a preacher was because he was basically saying, like, if you don't feel in your heart that this person is a real authority, you don't have to listen to them. Or if this person's authority isn't given by God, then they're not actually an authority. And then he even went further on to say that that you choose for yourself what the authority is. Like, at the end of the day, it's up to you to choose who are your authority figures. Obviously, God is probably the best place to start. Like I said, maybe you're not a religious believer, that's fine. I mean, everyone, that's realistically in a joke sense, because there is no people who aren't religious in some way or another. Like, you don't believe in God because you say something like, well, I don't believe in things that I can't see or things that aren't proven. Well, why do you go to work every day? Why do you save money for the future? There's literally no proof that you're going to be alive tomorrow or even 5 minutes from now. It's likely for most people, but it's not proven. You could die at any time. The future, the world could end. Like, your future could mean nothing. Or, most of all, you could get fired, or any of these things. The future doesn't exist in a real sense. There's only now. But why do you keep going to work then? Why do you keep bettering yourself for the future? It's an act of faith because you believe in it. But the point here is that you also choose what authorities you want to believe in. It's entirely up to you. Like, just because someone is, I'm the boss here, that's because you choose them to be your boss. You choose to work for them, for example. Or we choose to listen to politicians because of their title. But that's why there's so much distrust, for example, happening right now, especially because people don't trust the politicians. People don't think that they're true authorities. And a lot of them haven't honestly earned their position that they're in. And that's why this was such an important talk. And to me, that's also like a way, for example, to know that you're at a good church. Like, this guy isn't just saying, shut up and do what I tell you, or give me your money. anything like that. Like, and it was funny too, because this preacher that was giving this talk on authority was almost a little bit shy or hesitant or unsure about it in a way, because maybe he wasn't sure how it was going to be received. Because yeah, it is quite a rebellious thing to say in a way. Like, you don't have to listen to anyone. People are only your boss because you choose them to be. Like, what a strange thing for an authority figure himself to say, essentially, right? But that right there is proof that he's a true authority. This guy is speaking from truth, from his heart, this preacher. So, that's the point. And I guess there's not really anything else I can say to drive this point home other than now we need to, as a people, start making our society more of a meritocracy once again. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the corruption sort of began to dissipate. You know, like, the thing is most people right now in our society are kind of tyrants in a way. And everybody's okay with being tyrannized because they're also tyrants. And they see the authority as legit. Because, you see, if you believe in tyranny as a legitimate form of authority, then you're okay with being tyrannized. It's like I've said before, it's not just the perpetrators of the mean acts in tyrannical systems that are the criminals. In a lot of cases, it's also the victims. Yeah, it's not 100%. Like, it's not just because you're there that you're a tyrant, but most of them are also tyrants because they're okay with it. They're just going along with it. Or they're too scared to stand up, and by doing that, they're letting it continue on the way it is. As well as the fact that a lot of the people are timid because they see the authority as legit. You know, Adolf Hitler was the leader, man, so we just got to do what he says. He's the boss. He knows. There's no truth in that. That's not a correct attitude in any way. In fact, it's an extremely dangerous worldview at the end of the day. And but this goes for anything. I mean, Hitler is just a fun example, and I've talked about tyranny in videos before too, and people are like, well, how come you always use Hitler as an example? Because everyone knows him. Like, people are like, well, there's way worse dictators out there. Yeah, I know. Like, and it doesn't matter. They're all bad. But everyone knows Hitler is an easy example. And yeah, so that's something to think about. What are the true figures of authority in your life? And what are some maybe authorities that maybe it's not in your best interest to answer to? I think it's worth thinking about. Especially as a society, when realistically, if things become so corrupt that no one wants to take part in it, everyone thinks, oh, that's so bad, it's going to fall apart. Not necessarily. There's no reason why we couldn't create a parallel society, which is exactly what people did in Eastern Europe, which is what led to most of their countries being functional now and not being a complete communist hellhole, was because the people said these communists aren't legit authorities. They are evil. They don't have our best interests at heart. So they started doing their own things. They created their own programs, their own schools, their own places to go meet and talk about what they think the right thing to do is the future. And eventually people just stop listening to the communists because they're not real authorities. So, if you really want to see some serious change, then we got to start directing our energy and propping up the people that are trying to do the right thing, the people whose authority has been given by God or by merit or truth, whatever you want to conceptualize it. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope that gave you something to think about. Take care of yourself.